wow. Just wow. Everything I said before the series started about Cloud9 just being thrown to the wolves. No. These guys have confidence. When you've been getting beat the way you have been for the last couple of weeks.
Yo, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the number one CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. And we're going to talk about this weekend of games. We got some topics to talk about. And no better place to start than... I was going to start the FaZe one, but I feel like we should go in order. I'm not really going to talk about every single team, but... we're going to talk about most. We're going to talk about most as we go through the games. And I guess we're going to start off with Carolina Roll Ravens and Boston Breach. Not really about Carolina, more about Boston is what this series is. Because we gave our thoughts about Carolina last week, and Carolina is what it is. Let's just say that. Carolina is what it is. Let's talk about Boston. I know they just beat FaZe, and we're going to get to FaZe. Trust me, we're going to get to that series. That was a Sunday series. We're going to get to that. I know Boston beat FaZe, and I think, actually, I'll probably get into my thoughts on it later when we get into that FaZe series, but Boston still needs to make a change. It's still a two-person change. I still feel like either Purge or Snoopy needs to go. Make your pick. If it was up to me, I would drop Purge before I drop Snoopy. For some reason, I just have a lot more faith in Snoopy's secondary takeover ability than Purge's. And the reason why I say secondary is because I feel like they need a primary kill whore. I feel like Snoopy does a good job setting the pace. He's clearly not a Real type player who's like an island player who plays slow. He plays the game pretty fast, so sometimes to a detriment, but that just comes down to lack of knowledge around like the map and everything. I still think, as I go into my first tweet here, Boston need either Ojani or Standy. They need guaranteed firepower / a certified kill whore. Both players have been miscast due to personality issues. In brackets, I said, get over it, but never gameplay related. They are the best slaying options in NA Challengers right now, in my opinion. Both have that win you a series by themselves trait. Ojani could run worlds on that team with Nasty, Spartan, Snoopy. Their S&D and respawn would get way better. Standy in the slower slaying role next to Snoopy has potential. Honorable third mention, Yuli. That guy needs another chance too somewhere. The Purge x Snoopy SMG duo experiment should have ended way earlier. At the latest, after EWC 2025. Quit the friendship BS and go your separate ways. Quit the friendship BS and go your separate ways is like the main key. So like the thing about Boston and the thing, it all started with like that top three. That top three they got last year was the worst thing that could have happened to them, and it's almost being repeated again by getting that win against FaZe. I think it's like the worst thing that happened to them. It's going to give them blind confidence, and not the type of delusional confidence that should make you better on the map, but more of like the delusional confidence where you're just delusional. It's still a two-person change. And I understand, okay, I'm going to take you into like the mind of Boston Breach. So we talk about Friendship League. You know, you got people like Method saying it's not a Friendship League, even though there's plenty of examples around the league, like Boston, for example. I think Boston's probably like the primary example of Friendship League, but they just got rid of Cammy and everything. But take that team from last year, the Snoopy, Purge, Cammy, Awakening, like 3/4 of them came from challengers playing together. They got on a team together. They were terrible at respawn all of last year, but you know, when you're comfortable on a team and upper management isn't pushing you to make a change, you could just sit there on the same team and collect the salary and play with your friends no matter what happens and just vibe out. That's pretty much what they did. They basically held hostage a team spot last year because like they just like knew that they could. And now coming into this year, it's finally really clicking. Like, we can't be this bad 2 years in a row. We're just not going to go anywhere. And now the public pressure starts to kick in. And once the public pressure starts to kick in, that's when it really hits you. The public pressure didn't really kick in as much last year because everyone was like, it's Boston, who cares? But now people are starting to see it a lot more with all these qualifiers we have to watch. Everybody's issues are being highlighted a lot more. As opposed to last year, it was kind of more heavy on like the top 5 side, top 6 side. And, we barely talk about like those other teams. I mean, at least like the other people like would not. But this Boston team needs another change. That Purge Snoopy SMG duo, it actually makes no sense to me now because Purge is an enabler. And Snoopy clearly isn't consistent enough to be the type of player that you want to like build around and enable all the time, because he's not the type of person who has he doesn't have a high percentage chance of making the right decision majority of the time and making those big plays all the time and winning you games all the time. We're seeing it this year. Guys, inconsistent as all hell. And he had a very good portion of Black Ops 6 where he was like playing really good. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a new version of Snoopy. And now this year, it's just not like that. And this year is highlighting teams' mistakes more because like the other game actually had room for some slow methodical gameplay. And I'm not saying like that's what they were doing, but just the way the maps were and everything, like this game feels so fast. If you make one mistake, you're putting your team in a detrimental position. And when you're on a team who is not the best at everything, just in general, the mistakes get highlighted and get punished a lot more. And even in S&D, for example, if Purge is the enabler for Snoopy, then why is Purge always like the island player in S&D? Makes no sense. That dynamic's already messed up. It's at the point now where now they have like Nasty taking the bomb, which I think is fine. That's fine. But why can't Purge take the bomb? I've always imagined Purge being the type of person that takes the bomb and plants. And Snoopy plays an island and Sparta and Nasty play with Purge. Like that's how I imagine it in my head. Why don't they play like that? I don't know. And we talk about their S&D mistakes. Their S&D mistakes from, I mean, like this past weekend, like before like that FaZe game, man. Snoopy pushing Laundry 2 times in a row, pushing past Laundry with the bomb, knowing that there's nobody Laundry but him. And instead of going back to plant, just keeps going and dives. And then by the 3rd time, it finally clicked for him. Okay, I got to get the bomb down. It should even click. It shouldn't even click it the first time. Like even the first time, it's like hop on the bomb. Just hop on the bomb, brother. That's why you're taking it. That's why he shouldn't take the bomb. He's clearly not that type of player, and that's why they got Nasty taking it now. But why is Purge always like the island player? It makes no sense to me. I feel like the island player. I mean, it isn't going to be like this every single time because you have people like 04 that are playing the island player. Sometimes Simp does as well. But usually the IM player is like the best player on the team. Or at least like the best SMG on the team. Or at least a top 2 player on the team. Purge is not a top 2 player on Boston. Usually the IM player is someone that could constantly hold their own by themselves. But I don't know. Their dynamic is messed up. I still think it's a 2-person change. And Johnny, Standy, those guys need another chance. Johnny hasn't had a good opportunity on a good team like ever. That guy is so incredibly talented. I asked some people about him. Apparently came down to personality issues. We got to get over stuff like that. We got to get over, bro. If the talent's there, like you got to make the right. Like if it was back in the day, dude. If it was like back in the day, I can only imagine. He would probably have like the keys to some sort of castle and some sort of team because I feel like back then, like skill trumped more how like your personality was. I feel, unless you were like Parasite, but I don't think he's like Parasite. And I actually think Parasite sometimes was very misunderstood. I mean, sometimes on that Farico team, I mean, you could definitely see it. Yeah. Johnny or Standy. Standy, another one. Standy literally won Minnesota Rocker a tournament, a CDL championship on land by himself. They were not going to win that without him. So he already has the potential to be able to run worlds and will teams to victories and he got banished because of personality issues. We got to get over that stuff. He's just a player. I feel I could see the type of person he is. He's the type of person that wants to win, and sometimes the way he acts when he wants to get better could maybe rub some people the wrong way. But that's just like, I feel like that's such a generation that we're in nowadays when it comes to, like, you got to talk to people nice, otherwise like you're considered toxic, which I think people just have to learn human interaction skills and learn how to not take everything so personally and so seriously. But that's another story entirely. That's for coaches to work on. But I mean, not every coach is great, as we'll probably get into later. And then I also made another tweet. I said, I fear Slasher may have been right about Snoopy. I still have faith in him. He's so naturally skilled. Feels like there's so much untapped potential. But the other side of the game is so far away. Even just watching him hit laundry 2 times in a row with full info with the bomb and just not planning was so dumbfounding. Almost like they play S&D shells all day to not learn anything. We'll see what happens. Oh my God. I'm so funny. Okay. We're going to get into FaZe because Carolina won this 3-2. Don't really care. Carolina is Carolina. They're definitely going to stay because they made that AI generated intro, and putting the effort into that means that you're probably going to keep the team. So, but if that team ever does make a change, Craze, that's the guy that's got to go. But I'll probably get into that later as we get into Riyadh Falcons against FaZe. I mean, I didn't even watch like the Friday games because I was working. I came home. I don't know what, but we're just going to give general thoughts as I take a sip of my water real quick. Okay, FaZe. Where are we going to start with FaZe? Oh, brother. I wasn't sure if I should talk about it now or talk about the Boston series, but I'm going to talk about it now. Because, I got some stuff to say about FaZe. And I'm going to have my tweet open as I do this. So, this is the first one I made about FaZe when they played like the Falcons. So last week I talked about the thoughts about like the FaZe and G2 series from last weekend. I said I'm not a FaZe fan at all. I said, holy cow. Someone's going to laugh at me for that. If I'm FaZe, I'm not sweating that loss at all. If anything, I might have a small smile on my face. The hard points look great, well improved. Key line right here. Hopefully they can stay at a level like that, because if they do, they will be a force. That's what I said last week when they played G2. And then I quote tweeted that tweet this week when they played the Falcons. And I said, lasted only a week, oh well. The classic FaZe hardpoint roller coaster continues. Might require some divine intervention pretty soon. Pains to see a team of top quality players for the past 4 years stink/be so inconsistent at hardpoint. I want teams to feel that old aura of knowing that they were starting the series 0-1 down when playing FaZe. Because that's how it used to be. That's honestly how it used to be. Like, you used to queue up against FaZe and be like, oh, well, it's like fucking compromise. But now it's kind of just like everyone's freaking challenging them. Everyone's challenging them. And it's not good. And the thing about FaZe, I'm just going to get into this tweet, okay? I said it might just be in FaZe's DNA to be inconsistent at hardpoint. Some of their respawn mistakes actually make me sick. Maybe my standards for them have just been way too high over the years, but being 15-15 at hardpoint and losing to Boston Falcons in G2 in a row is not great for momentum or real confidence building. Losses happen in qualifiers, of course, but not like this. 5 months in, not super believing the end of the year team gimmick. It was easier to try and believe when there was 3 superstars instead of 1 on the team who could win games from the dirt. Okay. So from the perspective of FaZe, who do I got to talk to? Who do I have to talk to? Why is their hardpoint like this? It seems to not even be a personnel issue. It's not even a personnel issue anymore, because with better personnel, like, they were pretty bad at hardpoint, but they would still have like a 75% to like 65% win range hardpoint. It's like 50 now. They're 15-15 at hardpoint now. And they haven't really played super duper great teams. So let's take a look at the teams that they played over like the course of the qualifiers. Obviously, they have like the Paris, the KOIs, the LA Thieves in there, Optic Texas. They have Cloud9 New York in there, G2 in there, Vancouver in there, G2 Boston, Falcons, G2, Vancouver, G2, Riyadh, Boston. Like, they have a lot of like average teams in there. And they have 15 losses. So if you take away like the KOIs and the Paris and the LA Thieves still, like let's say they lost like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Like, let's say they lost every hard point against every good team. It would still put them at like 10. But I just don't understand their hard point. And I'm very curious. Okay, I'm very curious if they have a system this time around. Okay, I'm very curious if they have a system this time around. Because I'll tell you right now, I reached out to some people at FaZe and I said, you guys should send me your scrim VOD for a hardpoint and let me give you guys like some notes back. I'm not gonna lie, when I say it out loud, it sounds pretty condescending. Like, send me your scrim VOD and let me send you some notes back. But I was meaning in the way like, let me try to help your hardpoint. I will literally do it for free because maybe there's something everyone else is seeing that everyone else is not seeing that I'm seeing. Because I see everything all the time. And I'm wondering how this happens over and over again. How this happens over and over again. How this happens over and over again. They never rotate. They rely on breaks pretty much almost all the time. The only map that they seem to rotate now on is like Blackheart. But it's because they played it a million times and it's a small map. And you kind of have no choice but to rotate on that map. But like every other map, it seems like they don't rotate that well. They'll hit old. They don't do a good job blocking spawns and securing rotations. Just everything. Their rotational play just in general is just god awful. And they're not a good enough team to have to rely solely on their breaks and not rotate the hills first. Like, they really value. I'm starting to think, because now pretty much the only person remaining from that original trio is Simp. So, like, the whole philosophy about fighting for every scrap time, that's got to come from either him or it's come from the coaching staff. Either two. Because it can't come from Abuza in 04. They were just fine at hardpoint last year. They were just fine. Why now, like, after joining this team, it's like everyone just buns at hardpoint now. It's something to do with the philosophy over there. I really wish I was a fly on the wall for their hardpoint scrims and just what is being told in those hardpoint scrims and what they're working on, because I don't see any progress. The only progress I see is on Blackheart, but it's because they played it more times than any other map, and they played it over and over and over and over and over again. When you play it over and over and over again, you have no choice but to get better at it. And there's not that many good teams at Blackheart. Like, not even Optic plays it. LA Thieves doesn't really play it. They just started playing and they started getting good at it. Paris doesn't play it. Like, all the top teams don't play it. Koi doesn't play it. Like, all the top teams do not play Blackheart. So, if all the top teams don't play Blackheart, it means you're playing Blackheart against pretty much like the bottom 6 half of the league. And you're just farming them pretty much. They play freaking G2 on it all the time. I think G2's like 2 out of their 3 Blackheart hardpoint losses, if not all of them. So, from the perspective of FaZe, why is your hardpoint bad? Because now I have a question, okay? And I want to preface by saying I like everybody in that org. They got some very smart people over there, okay? Let me preface by saying that. But there's either two things, okay? There's either two things. Either the players are just not getting it, or the coaches just ain't teaching it. It could be either of those two things. It can't be anything else. Either the players just ain't fucking getting it, or the coaches just ain't teaching it. Which one is it? I need to know, because it's been going on for over 5 years. Even in Cold War, they weren't even that good at hardpoint, but the skill diff was just so high. The spawns were pretty much normal in that game. They won a lot of times off a skill diff. Like I went back and watched like a lot of their Cold War wins, and it's like they would still win like 250 to like 200. And you know, if they played like a team that was really bad, it would be like a 250 to 120, you know, like some sort of blowout. But like a lot of times the hard points were like pretty close. It's like they've always still had like a don't rotate as much, or the rotational play is just bad. Like the rotational play is probably like the number one most alarming thing. It's like the only thing that they seem to be decent at is breaking hills, but they're not good at holding hills, and their whole rotational play is messed up. It needs a whole rework, and I have a rework in mind. I have everything in mind. I just need someone from FaZe to reach out to me so I could give it to you. Because I'm tired of watching your hard point. It makes me sick. It happens over and over again. 1 week comes, oh, you know, they might be onto something. Next week, never mind. Constant roller coaster week after week. Even when they 3-0'd Optic and they beat them on that Scar hard point, I watched the hard point over again, and I was like, they're still doing the same stuff, but Optic's just not playing good. Like when I watched that Optic FaZe Scar hard point when FaZe 3-0'd them, you know, it was like right after they picked up a Luco. Draza has like, you know, he has that type of series. He has a FU series. I rewatched it. They didn't rotate first like at all, except to I think P2 like once or twice. But every other hill they didn't rotate to. They just fortunately got breaks because Optic was just trolling. Imagine if Optic was locked in that day. Optic probably beats them. So the hard point is still the same. I'm not as worried about their overload and their S&D. Those could be very night and day. Their main thing is hard point. The main thing is hard point. And for some reason, I don't know why they're bad at raid S&D. If I do have to nitpick one thing, I don't know why they're bad at raid S&D. I have no idea. But that map makes no sense to me. 04 plays Cold War Chows all the time. Simp was like the best Cold War player in the world. Draza plays Cold War Chows all the time, like literally back in the day. Like that should be a map they should just be good at. For some reason, they're just not good at it in this game. They definitely got to get that on their belt. It would really help them in the map vetoes, but I'm not as worried about their S&D. Okay? I'm not as worried about their S&D. Overload, it'd be nice for them to get Scar under their belt, but maybe they just don't want to play Scar. But I think the number one thing for them is hard. If they're good at hardpoint, and it's like a really locked in series, if they could win the hard points, I have faith in them in like the other game modes, like enough of the time. But hardpoint is really an Achilles heel for them because you never know if they're going to start down 0-1. A lot of times they do start down 0-1, and it really hinders them. Like the Miami series, like last year, I think it was at Champs. I could tell FaZe for like the first time ever, like did their homework in that series, that Skyline. They played like the first half tremendously well, and then all of a sudden just decided to just throw it out the window. Throw every good thing they were doing out the window, and they got come back on. And you're down 0-1. Imagine if they're up 0-1, you know? Like the momentum swing and the confidence going into map number 2 to take a 2-0 lead. By then the other team could be probably half demoralized, you know? And it's crazy. Like even looking at this, they picked Scar S&D 15 times. More times than any other map. Absolutely insane. But their hardpoint, man. I'm telling you, their hardpoint has to get better. Like, this team should not be 1-4 on Den. Like, just looking at the record on every map, like, honestly, they've been playing Blackheart so much that I think they haven't even focused that much on the other maps, because I think they just need a rework in how they play rotations and how they hold hills, because they're hill holding for years. It doesn't even matter the personnel, which leads me to believe this is just like a foundational thing. Because I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm not going to lie. Just talking about FaZe some more, I remember seeing a documentary, and I remember Crowder was just so annoyed at the team and just like talking about like how like they played the hard point. And I remember what he said, and I feel like it was completely opposite from what I thought, because I watched the hard point obviously, and then I watched like this documentary, so I knew what hard point map he was talking about, and I knew what happened on the map. And I just remember he was like just saying, stop playing like pussies, guys. Stop playing like pussies, guys. And he like went to his whole thing. And I'm like, that's just like not the problem. That's just like not the problem. And like, the problem was not playing like pussy. Like, it was just like bad plays. But like, there's like specific plays, but I can't remember the exact scenario by now. I'm just starting to think. I mean, I don't want to make any enemies. I really don't. But it's getting to that point where you have to start asking the question: what is going on? What is this philosophy that they're working on? What is the actual issue? It's either the players or it's the coaches. That's it. But like, these are good enough players that I feel like they could retain information well. I watched 04 and Obuza with Rambo last year play some pretty freaking disciplined hardpoint for the most part. There were times there was a lot of novice mistakes from 04. There was. But they played hardpoint like the right way majority of the time. They beat FaZe a lot of the time. But FaZe has always had like this reckless abandon in their hardpoint where it's like, whenever FaZe win a hardpoint, I'm still never convinced. Like, it's never ever a convincing hardpoint win for me ever from FaZe. Like, I rarely ever watch them win a hardpoint. I'm like, man, except for the one I guess against freaking Boston on Sunday where it's like they absolutely like obliterated them. But most of the time when I watch them play hardpoint, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, like, you would have got the win, that was it, but I'm not blown away. I'm not like, man, their hard point is like on the up and up. I never think that ever. And I feel like that's a problem. That is a real big problem. If I don't think that about FaZe, that's a problem. And let me take a sip of my water real quick. And something else I want to say. Something else I want to say. As I pull this up on Twitter, for those of you on video. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, so I'll actually just play it. I'm just gonna play this clip.
Hey, bro. They too inconsistent, bro.
Holy shit. You're an idiot. What about you, Pat? Pat, what about you? What'd you think of the series?
Another challenger player, the best on the team he joins, happened again. It's gonna keep happening, I fear. But don't get it twisted. Boston still need another change. As far as the Vegas though, yeah, I don't know what happened to Twin. He's been ass all year, in my opinion.
It's not opinion. He's been ass all year.
Yeah. Usually when I say opinion, it's just fact.
Yeah, of course.
I just have to say it for the chat because otherwise they'll just spam some bullshit. Yeah, Simp, just gotta get my man some help, bro.
Okay. Wow, guys. Where do I start with this? Do you guys remember, for anyone who's been paying attention to my YouTube and my Twitter, don't you remember in the off-season, guys, when I made video after video, tweet after tweet, explaining, showing analysis videos of why 04 was just not the right fit for FaZe? And I'm watching pundit after pundit, the Octanes, the Zumas, the everyone. No, 04 is a good pickup, nameless, everybody. 04 is a good pickup. 04 is a good pickup. 04 is a good pickup. He's a good pickup. They're going to make this team. He's going to enable Simp. I'm like, what are we watching, guys? No one believed, okay? No one believed. I'm sure there's some people that weren't pundits that believed. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying I was the only one who got this right. But if we're talking about in the space of creators, okay, in the space of creators, I swear to God, I'd never seen anyone else have the opinions I had on 04. I literally made video after video. I was posting in Zoom Mafia. Everyone was like, Burrito. Hold that. Fucking chill on that. And now we're here now. Now we have Ben saying, oh, maybe got to get rid of 04. Aches. Got to get rid of 04. Octane. Got to get rid of 04. Sometimes I'm just half a year early, guys. It was very evident to me. I went back and did my due diligence and watched his Black Ops 6 gameplay, even though I already knew how he played. He's a noob slayer. He doesn't perform against any top team ever. He is mistake prone. And I can't help but think, I'm not saying 04 is a bad player, okay? I could see the potential in 04. I really can. But 04 needed like another year on like not to say Koi is like a stepping stone, but even like a Koi. He needed like a Koi or like a Boston or just like an upper echelon mid-tier team. Like that's what he needed. 04 needed that next step and then maybe like a top team after that. But I can't help but just think about Simp, okay? Simp is 25 years old, okay? He's 25 years old. 25. 1.13 overall KD, number 5 in the league. 1.25 S&D KD, number 6 in the league. 1.11 hardpoint KD, number 5 in the league. 1.110 overload KD, 12th in the league. Let's compare that to 04, his SMG duo that everybody said was going to enable him. Okay? And I know being an enabler means your statistics are probably going to be less, but I mean, come on. Simp has almost like the highest OBJ per 10 in the league. So if it feels like he's enabling, I don't know. 04, 0.93 overall KD, 42nd in the league. A person on FaZe with the 42nd in the league overall KD, unfathomable. Hasn't been seen in any of the previous years. An S&D star, supposed to be making their S&D tremendous. 0.90 S&D KD, 41st in the league. Hardpoint KD, 0.97, not bad. The 35th in the league. Overload KD, 0.87, 48th in the league. Literally in the bottom half of the league. Not even bottom half of the league, like probably bottom 3 in the league, because there were some new players that came in, but literally like the worst overload KD in the league. Like, how is that even possible? 04, all the way at the bottom, 48th in the league, only behind Cammy, TJ, Beans, Envoy. How is Envoy down here? No, I think these are just wrong. Okis, Sabri, Slasher, Abe. Half these players aren't even here anymore. Unbelievable. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Behind Kenny, like, oh my God, bro. Like, that's like the dirt worst. Okay, that's the dirt worst. Not saying 04 is a bad player, but he's not good enough to be on FaZe. He's not a good enough player to team with Simp, in my opinion. I've always thought that. Apparently, I'm the only one that thought that. And I could understand. I know people want to be prideful with the decisions that they make. And I know this is going to be a hard direction for FaZe, because FaZe, for those of you who don't know, FaZe is the only team in the CDL era who has never made a midseason change, ever. They've never made a midseason change ever, which leads you to believe they're probably not going to make one. So this is just a mistake they're going to have to live with the whole season again and learn again and maybe start again. But I just want to say this. Simp is not the type of player who needs I know it's a rebuild because you just got rid of your trio, okay? I know it is. But Simp is not a player who, like, needs time for people to grow and catch up. Simp needs, like, ready to, like, be great now players. If we look at every player in their prime, Formal and Scump were playing with people that had potential. Like, they dropped Nade Shot, they picked up Krim and Karma. It's like the top echelon of players aren't playing with players who have potential. It's not about potential. They're trying to win now. Simpson is prime, bro. He's trying to win now. He doesn't need a player who still needs years to get to his best. And Simp doesn't have the time to, like, help players get to their best. He's literally trying to fucking be great. He has a legacy. And, like, that's another thing. Simp's talking about being an end-of-the-year team. I'm like, bro, your legacy on the line and you're talking about being an end-of-the-year team. Every major you should be trying to win. This is legacy. You need to win all the time. That's what legacy is. You need to be a winner all the time. Can't just suck the whole year. Maybe if you get like that third ring, you'll be great. Sure. But it's like at the expense for the rest of the year, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. And it doesn't look like they're even on a trajectory. We could talk about Optic, how Optic was just bad all of last year, and then just like last two events got better. I don't think FaZe is going to do that because they're probably not going to make a roster change. And the whole thing's confusing. So you brought 04 in to make your S&D better. He's like in like the bottom 10 like for S&D. Makes no sense. And he doesn't carry bomb. Like he actually just contributes fucking nothing at that point when like it comes to S&D. Simp's like the number one OBJ person on his team, like besides Abuza, of course. Like, Simps on the hill pretty much always has the most hill time if it isn't Abuza. And like in S&D, he takes the bomb plants, does everything. It's like, what does 04 do at that point? Like, at that point, Simps enabling 04, and 04 is not even slaying. So at that point, you should have just kept the BZ. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through some statistics here. Let's go through some statistics. Okay. Respawn KD. Simp has a 1.11. 04 has a 0.97. That's not even bad. Okay. Now let's take a look at OBJ per 10. This actually drastically changed. Like, Simps OBJ per 10 has actually went down drastically from stage 4. But Abuza has an 89. Simp has a 64. Jaws has a 56. 04 got a 51. So he's on the hill a lot less than everybody. He has the highest engagements on the team, which means he's getting into the most interactions, and he's not on the hill as much, but he's not getting as much kills. I don't know. It kind of just makes no sense to me. I don't know. And I mean even S&D, I don't know. Like, Simp grabs the bomb and he has the same amount of freaking first bloods as 04. It makes no sense. Overload 0.8. Like, I don't even understand. And like, how is 04 0.87 in overload and his goals per 10 is like the lowest on the team? He has a 0.73. It's like, what are you actually doing in overload then? You have the lowest kills per 10, the lowest damage per 10, the lowest goals per 10. What are you doing on the team? And I have to preface by saying this as well, okay? At Major 1, he literally costed his team. He was literally the catalyst for costing the team. Like, FaZe was playing like 3v4 at that event and still almost made the grand finals. If 04 just played 2% better, like, they made the grand finals. Like, even just 2%, just to get over the line to the grand finals, they probably would have lost the Optic, like, really, really bad. So thank God that didn't happen. It was all just freaking destiny, just so Optic would not win. Thank gosh. Hallelujah. But at 04, just not doing it for me. He's never done it for me, and has no disrespect to 04. I'm sure in another year or two, he's going to be a top player. But when I'm looking at this FaZe team right now, a team that wants to win, like, I know they talked about rebuilding and getting young players. That's great, dude. Sim's trying to win now, bro. Sim's trying to fucking win now. Trying to rebuild with young players. Like, unless they're players like Mercules who are just fucking ready right now. You need players that are ready right now. 04 is not ready for the big time right now. Name me one takeover series he's had against a top team, and I'll wait. Name me one takeover series he's had against a top team. Even just one. Even on his time in Vancouver. Name me one series he was takeover, best player in the lobby. Never seen it. Only against like the average and the mid pack or the bottom teams. I'd never seen him take over against a top team ever. He doesn't have that trait. Like, not even one time I can name. Not one time I can name. Their hard point is bad. They picked the wrong fourth. Like, if they had a BZ on this team and they freaking kept Abuza, this team would be crazy right now. This team would be crazy. Like, Draws is like way too inconsistent right now. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's either good or it's either bad. But I don't know. Like, they have like a bunch of S&D stars on their team, but like two of them who play S&D the most are like the worst on the team. So I actually like don't even get it. But I am going to say S&D in this game is really bad. But I mean, the one good map, Raid, they're not even good at it anyway. So I don't even know. And they're 4-1 freaking Den, but teams are going to ban Den when they play them. So then they have to play like Colossus or Exposure, but they pick Scar every freaking time. It's like their number one pick that they pick all the time. So many things FaZe has to work on. And, you know, I might just keep making a bunch of YouTube videos and just try to help them out and just send them to the coaches and just try to help them, because like no one wants to listen. I can understand having an ego, you know. Who wants to listen to like a person who's not in the camp? You know, we have it figured out. I don't believe you anymore, okay? I don't believe you anymore. This goes to everybody in the FaZe camp without being disrespectful. I don't believe you guys anymore because I've seen this for 5 years now. You had one good year in Cold War. Take that year away. MW2, MW3, MW4, Black Ops 6. Yeah, like the first two majors, but you're getting sloshed in Hardpoint. You just went S&D Merchant, first two events. Teams caught up in S&D. All of a sudden, you're just a nobody team after that. Like the second teams caught up in S&D, FaZe was compromised because they couldn't win hardpoints. And then when everyone catches up in S&D, you're losing hardpoints and S&Ds, and then people are better controlled. It's like you're just screwed. So it's like they pride themselves on being good at S&D, but can't put in the work. And like, I personally feel, I know S&D wins championships, guys, but hardpoint is so freaking important. Hardpoint is paramount. Getting that 1-0 start to any series, especially when you're a top team, it hits more. If you're like a bottom team and sometimes you win first round, it's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, whatever, like probably come back. But you remember how it used to be when you go down 1-0 to Atlanta, FaZe, and Cold War? You're just like already think about the next series. You're like, yeah, it's all right, man. Like we tried. Like, yeah, like that's how it used to be. And now they got no fear factor. Nobody fears them anymore because the majority of their team is inconsistent and not anything to be freaking feared of. I love Abuza. I love Simp. The other two are up for debate. I love Draza. Draza's a grinder. I know he's a great teammate. He could be inconsistent, but I think this comes down to like the third SMG. And I feel like 04's engagement per 10, like the numbers are there, but I don't feel like the numbers tell the whole story. He gets lost on the map a lot of the time, and I think his engagements are high because of like just the amount of times he could like die. Like the engagements per 10 doesn't necessarily tell you like if they're in the right position all the time. It doesn't really tell you that part. It shows you like their engagements per 10. And I feel like a lot of times 04 is not in the right place. And we saw it on the exposure with Boston when there's like a spawn you could have. There's so many examples I could name. And I actually have made like a bunch of 04 videos that were from like January. And I just like deleted them. I had like 8 clips of like things that 04 did wrong. I was like, no one's going to watch this because they're from January. And now I probably could have dropped them. I probably could have dropped him right now because now he's playing bad, now they'd be a lot more relevant. Yeah, but FaZe, man, I talked about FaZe for so long. I talked about FaZe forever. I still got so many people to talk about. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, that's FaZe. I could actually talk about FaZe forever. From the position of Falcons, I mean, it's a good series from them. I'm not convinced on them, so yeah, it's online qualifiers, but it's a great win. It's a great win. Great win for them. Okay. Koi beat Miami 3-0. I didn't even watch that game either, bro. There was a lot of games I just didn't watch this weekend. I'm sorry. I was like preparing for a person to move in. I was doing all like the house things, this was just not a good weekend for me to watch Call of Duty. I had a bunch of IRL stuff to take in, but I didn't even like go back and watch this game. I'm probably gonna have to go back and do my due diligence because it was a nice little 3-0 from Koi. But the one thing I am gonna say about Koi, okay, I mean, like Miami's inconsistent all the time. Shocker. Super, very slow player. The thing that's so funny about Super is I think he's extremely slow. Like, some could argue too slow on the map, but it's like he's like so slow, but he's so good, and it kind of just makes up for it. Sometimes it may feel like a detrimental slow, but then you see how the map progresses, and it's almost like he picks up. He starts off very slow, and he like gets into like the rhythm of the game, and then all of a sudden starts to click. Like, I think you'd be like a top main AR and like honestly even like an LAT. Like if LAT needed like a slow AR who could help their S&D as well, and it's just like super good, Super would be perfect for them. Like Super is like the type of AR like they actually need. Like they needed an iron boot because like Scrap's actually sprinting around, everyone's sprinting around. Super would be great for that. I just am not quite sure about his OBJ per 10. Let's take a look at his OBJ per 10 real quick. His OBJ per 10 is only like a 56. Okay, that's not that great. Yeah, like I see he doesn't really play the hill that much, that's for sure. But yeah, From the perspective of Koi, okay, I was actually gonna talk about Koi. Inside's playing great right now. Okay, Inside's playing great right now. But I'm not the type of person who switches my opinion the second, like, they freaking get a win. I see it happen so many times on, like, the flank where, like, they'll be talking about a player, and we're actually going to get into that in a bit, okay? We're actually getting into that a bit. I'm actually going to call it the flank for that. But I'm not going to get convinced by one series or two series. I need to, like, see this, like, when it really, really matters. Inside's playing great right now. He had 2 good games against Miami and Paris. I mean, right in this game, he had like super low interactions and everything, but like did not hard cost. Just did his job apparently. Didn't even watch the game. I'm probably gonna watch it sometime this week when I'm not recording the podcast. But yeah, I'm not convinced. I've seen this happen before, where he's like playing good and then. But I am gonna say, the introduction of Kips. Having a player on your team who plays at the same pace as everyone else makes the world of difference. The world of difference. I'm even experiencing it in freaking rank play. Like, it is very easy to tell when, like, no one on your team is pushing pace and everyone is slow and the map just feels way, way harder than it should be. That was Koi with Real. Like, Real was that type of player. I watched it, probably at least 12 examples I could pull up of just Real allowing the game to just happen right in front of him, and he's just like too slow because he's just like baity and does not want to die. Koi doesn't need that. They need a player who's running it down. And I know it sounds cliche, but guys, in this game, it really does make a difference. If you have 4 players that are literally running at everything, trust me, try it in a ranked game, try it in H, try it whatever you're playing. Have 4 players all running it the fuck down. And you'll see how easy the game feels. Like everybody's always in the right spots because they're just quick enough like to get there. People are trading out things. People are like going wishy to push out cuts and everything. The game feels so much easier, and that's what Koi's experiencing right now. Joe is in heaven now. Joe is happy now. Joe is smiling now because now he actually has another player who's actually picking up the freaking pace with him. I watched it so many times. Insight would just leave him high and dry. Like, Real never runs in with them ever. It's always Joe just running by himself. Now Kips is right there with them. And it's just looking great. And it's looking great. I guess I just like said that twice. It's looking great. Okay. Okay, next series. God, am I on Saturday, Friday? Oh my god. Okay. So we're going to I just pulled up a random Koi Miami series from freaking Saturday. Okay. The last game of Friday. Okay. Oh, another series we're going to talk about for a while. It's definitely going to be over an hour podcast. Paris against Cloud9. Paris against Cloud9. Cloud9 get their first win with this new roster, and it's against Paris. Let's take a look at the map videos real quick, specifically from Paris. So Paris banned Scar Hardpoint, probably just for no reason, just because they wanted to allow Blackheart in, and I know Aaron was going to see that. He's picking it, so they picked Blackheart. And Gentlemates pick Colossus because it's a map that they know they're good at, but they've been struggling on it. And Cloud9 is the best team to try out 2 hardpoints against because, we're Paris. We think we're the best team. Let's just, let's just play against these guys. Like, we'll just win. And then Paris banned Den S&D. Cloud9 banned Raid S&D. Smart banned out of them. Paris pick Exposure, which were pretty good at it, but they lost. And then map number 5, Scar S&D. Which, Scar S&D, there's never going to be a definitive, best in the world at Scar S&D. That map is a day-to-day, play-by-play. It's actually terrible. And then they obviously, Cloud9 bans are Overload, and then Paris pick Den, which is a map they want to work on. So Paris basically just using this series, to work on shit. And then they lose 3-2. And it all started with that Blackheart hardpoint. And I'm very confused about some things because I know it was a long time ago. This is an extremely long time ago. This is literally either September or October. I think it was October. Where I watched Paris play Blackheart hardpoint like the grandfathers of the case on tourney, and they were looking really good at it. I'm very confused why this team's not good at Blackheart Hardpoint. I'm very confused. It's a close map. They have a flex player in Ghosty who could take out like the sub and fry. They got Neptune, Envoy, Ghosty running subs. Dante plays at the same pace as everybody. They have the gunny, they have the skill, they have the damage. It's a very simple match. It's a very simple map. You get control, you read where the immediate pressure is, like you get some cut kills and like you flip. Like it's a very simple map. If you just know where they spawn and you just don't scam. Scamming is of the utmost importance on this map. If you don't do it, you will probably win. Whichever team scams less will most likely win. And just brute force, they should have beat Cloud9 on this map. And I'm not going to lie, some people may look at this as, whatever, online qualifier. I think from the perspective of Paris, this is really, really bad. Okay? This is really, really bad. And I'm going to go into my tweet slightly, just to kind of, get my bearings. So, like, I made a tweet January 16th when Paris got upset by another team. I think it was against Falcons. God, literally, take this guy's freaking comment. I said on January 16th, I said, I know it's early, but to me, it feels like Neptune is the only one that plays like the Rents do all the time, no matter who he's playing. Feels like the others have that tendency to sort of let off the gas pedal when they play lesser opposition. And before you have a chance to regain, the momentum is too far on the other side. It feels like too much overconfidence too soon. They should be queuing up against everyone like they're playing LAT and making statements, being feared by everyone. Gotta build the good habits and not let things slip up. 2 games in a row, it just feels very sloppy. Unless you're Cold War FaZe where you're so far ahead of everyone, multiple champions deep in the season, having a fun trolley game against Paris Legion, you should be locked in all the time. They all have a lot to prove to everybody. And at the time I put, and haven't won anything yet. Losses happen in qualifiers, bad games happen, but that game just seemed, I don't know. To be fair, the S&D and Overload has not been the greatest either. It's still not. And I said, big exciting match against KOI, whatever. I should actually put this in my bookmarks because... And then I said, okay, and then I quote tweeted this tweet. February 27th, I quote tweeted it. I said, yeah, ×2. Trying or not trying. You should not, under any circumstance, be losing that match. It means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, but that's a mental chink in the armor to now knowing you can get upset like that. And I'm afraid they don't make top teams like they used to. Complexity would never. They would be trolling in games against bums, but still be winning with ease. Credit to C9, though. Incredibly happy for them. Playing like a team makes up for the talent dip. Half the teams in the league are bad enough that they should never have the nerve to eagle them for scrims. Okay, but we're going to talk about Paris. From the perspective of Paris, these are one of the things I brought up early in their season because I know Envoy is very, very guilty of this. I know Ghosty is. Dante thinks he's too cool for school, like a lot of the times. I'm not sure if them getting that first major was like a blessing or a curse. I feel like it's a blessing, I feel like it's a good thing because like at least they know they can now get over that hurdle. There's not that hurdle there anymore of like, oh my God, like maybe I could do it. Like now they know they can do it. But I think at the same time, it makes them way too overconfident. And I know you could be confident going into a game against Cloud9, but dude, you got to beat this team. With all due respect to Cloud9, Paris, you have to beat this team. You could talk about it being a qualifier and it not mattering, but you need to beat this team. It's just for like fear purposes. It's just for like intention purposes. You just have to have enough pride to like want to win these series and not take this shit lightly, especially on maps like this. You're trying out new maps. You should be using this as actual practice. Like you can't be trying out Blackheart. This is the first time they played Blackheart this season. They're literally 0-1 on it. It's the first time Paris has ever played Blackheart when the season started. You should be playing it with intent. Like you really want to win this map. Like really try to get good practice. That's why you play these maps in the qualifiers because it's actual match rep practice because the other team you're playing is playing for the win. It's not like scrims where you're just playing to play. Like people are playing to win, so you're going to get people's best version of maps like they're not as good at. So you need to win that black card. You should have won the black card. Doesn't matter if you never played it before. It's Cloud9. You literally got to beat them. Just from like a skill perspective, you should be beating them. Exposure S&D is like a terrible map. But Cloud9 just played it better. They have a lot of S&D kids on that map. And then it ended up going to like a game 5 and they lost Scar, which is a pretty 50-50 map. But I think it all came down to like the map number 1. You need to win the hard points. And just in general, so I talked about Sib not being like a good best of 5 player. He had a good series today. Like he had a good series today. He's talking about ping. I'm on 50 ping, yada, yada, yada. 50 ping is actually like the good end. And you got to think about where Cloud9 is. They got a guy over in Cali. They got a guy in Dallas. They got a guy east side. Like they have guys everywhere. So no matter what, there's going to be people on their team that are playing unfavorable. There was no server cheese in this year. It's like you just got beep to do bopped and you lost. You got embarrassed. You got a pie thrown in your face. From the perspective of Paris, their overload has not been that great. Their S&D doesn't light the world on fire. They literally only have hardpoint, and now their hardpoint is like slowly regressing. They start off like 10-0. They're like 10-0, 10-1 at hardpoint. Now all of a sudden they're 21-8 now. They just got all these like hardpoint losses out of nowhere. They're 13-11 at S&D. They're 8-10 at overload. Like they've pretty much just been hardpoint merchants, which is a good problem to have. It's very easy to get good at S&D. Overload's another question entirely. They should be better at Scar Overload because that's just like a slang map. You have Dante, you got Ghosty, just a slang map. Just a slang map, you literally push forward and like you score. It's a pretty fucking simple map to play. All comes down like the gun skill on that map, to be honest, and just fucking pushing up in their spawn and literally getting kills. That map is like the easiest map to play. As for exposure and Den, they obviously have work. Those are 3-5 on exposure overload. They're 4-4 on Den. Like they're not playing any overload good. Don't know what they're working on in the camp. I'm not gonna lie, because I mean I know it's only stage 2, but like 8-10 at overload for being Paris, not good. 13-11, not good. I feel if you take the sniper away from Dante, they'd probably be like 8-15 at S&D. Like if you just take the sniper away from them, they're probably like a way worse team. I'm not gonna lie. And they just have to stop playing with this, like, because now it's like really actually annoying me. And I just knew it was going to happen if like they were like a really good team, because like this is stuff that like really like starts like the collapse of a team. I'm not even saying they're gonna collapse the team, but let me just elaborate. You start off and you're playing well, like you're playing so good, and then you get overconfident, and then overconfidence leads to bad losses like this against Cloud9, and then these losses against teams like Cloud9 make you a little bit frustrated, and you know over time that frustration could lead to like passive aggressive stuff, which could just spread toxicity slowly throughout the team. Next thing you know, you're going into every season against every team with a sort of doubt in your mind, because it's like, man, like we just lost to Cloud9, like it's possible, like we could lose to any team if we're not playing well. And if you're not playing well, you're just tweaking about how you're not playing well, and then you just play bad, and then you continue to get these upset losses, and you can never like regain to like your form where you're just confident you're winning all the time. That's why it's so important just to win all the time. They say losing is learning, but it's also good to just win. You could learn a lot winning, okay? If you just change your perspective. But a lot of people just win and they kick their feet up. If I was winning all the time, it would just encourage me to want to keep winning, just to keep getting. I'd be so afraid of losing because I love winning. And I feel like a lot of teams don't have like that mentality. They just think, oh, we're winning, like our shit don't stick right now. It doesn't matter if we lose this game or two. It could add up. Trust me, it could add up slowly to the mental, create toxicity. I've seen this happen. This was quite literally an embarrassing loss. I need to get some sort of official in the COD League to check their prize picks accounts and just make sure they didn't put unders on there. Because if they put unders on themselves, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. But Yeah, Cloud9 cannot let this happen. You can never. I know upsets happen, but this should have never happened. 4 random people got thrown on a team and they beat you. Should never happen. Absolutely ridiculous. Even if you're playing a map you never played before, you should beat them on black card every single time. Not good if you're Paris. And now they're on a losing streak. And now they lost to Cloud9. They lost to Cloud9, man. They lost to Cloud9 and they lost to KOI. And now their next games. Okay? Their next game. G2, Vancouver, Optic, Boston, FaZe, LAT. Could be G2, but who knows now? Like, they've been upset so many times, like they could be tweaking. G2 is a team that could upset anyone on any day. Vancouver just made a change, but that should still be a free win by me. If you fucking lose to Cloud9, you could lose to anyone, This is what it creates. Like, you lose to one team, and all of a sudden, start looking at the games differently. And now you start looking at the game differently. Like, before, if you beat Cloud9, you'd be like, we're just going to probably, fucking run over that team. Now you just never know. Now, if you show up to the game with that same amount of complacency that you had against Cloud9, anything could happen now. I feel like teams just get way too comfortable, way too quick, and I would just never accept losing to Cloud9. I would be going so hard in this game. And another thing I want to say, everybody talks about all the time, there's not enough games, oh my god, not enough games. But when you do get games, you don't want to try? Come on. Ridiculous. Going to the Saturday games, I may skip over some. I'm not going to watch the G2 Falcons. I'm not going to talk about that one. I made my thoughts known about G2. I'm still not high on them. I'm not going to lie. I will say this about G2, okay? I'll say one thing about G2 real quick. I'm not high on them. I'm high on Crimp. I like that Skies is playing better. I'm not high on Estriel. And Mamba's not doing it for me. At all. It's he is a fast AR, but he's not an effective AR. If that makes sense. And I don't know what it is about ARs. But it's I always said, if you want to be considered a top AR in the league, you need to average a 1.0 or above. And most of these ARs in the league can't even average that. They can't even average a 1.0. You pre-aiming with the AR. I know even if you're a faster AR, you're still pre-aiming though. So if you're under a 1.0, it means more times than not, you're dying holding an iron. That's what that means, which means you're giving up lanes, you're giving up power spots. Mamba 0.94, 37th in the league. He has a good S&D KD. He's a 1.10. Overload 0.87, 46th in the league, right beside 04. Literally going band for band with 04 in Overload. 0.95 in Hardpoint, 38th in the league. For an AR, if you're trying to consider yourself a top AR, you need to be a lot more consistent in the slaying category and not dying as much. I know KD's not everything, but KD means a lot more when you're an AR because you're fucking pre-aiming. And you have Estriel and Crimp who are not slow SMGs, so they're running in front of you all the time. Crimp literally does not have a stop button. You have a player like that fucking running in front of you, can't average a 1.0. There's a problem there. It creates inconsistency within the ARs because now they have no consistent ARs in the slaying category, and that could lead to the downfall of a team. Having both ARs who are not positive in any fucking respawn mode is a red flag to me. That's a red flag to me. That's the one time KD matters. You need one AR who's positive at respawn. Please. That's bad. There's no way your SMG should be positive at respawn and you're not. That's a problem. But I digress. Everyone is freaking terrible at Overload on this team. The only thing that they're fucking good at is S&D, but I'm not high on G2. Not high on Mamba. I'm not just saying that because he told me I had no idea what I'm talking about, but they're just not a good team. I talked about the KOI series that I didn't watch. Vancouver, Carolina, 3-0. Optic, Texas, LA Thieves. I'm going to go and watch the series on stream tonight. So if you're watching this, the stream will probably already be up. I'm watching it this Monday night. Haven't watched it, so I'm not even going to give thoughts on it. I'll probably give thoughts on it on like the stream. I mean, obviously I'm going to give thoughts on the stream. But Optic 3-1 them was pretty convincing. I honestly don't even want to open up and see the scores. I kind of want to be like surprised. I'm not going to lie. Kind of want to be surprised. I did get spoiled that LA Thieves won the first map and then Optic won like the next 3. So kind of gave that one away. I kind of don't want to see the scores. I kind of want to be surprised and then go on the score box after. But it was expected. I mean, LA Thieves, they had 4 wins against 4 like pretty not good teams. And now Optic's like the first good team that they play. And I could tell they pretty much just got exposed that they're just not there yet. And I can't wait to go see them play Hardpoint and see that there was even any actual improvement. Granted, you're playing like the best team in the league right now. They're 6-0. They're not losing anyone. So, I mean, like, you can't say that. But this was like a nice like test of where you are. You know? Nice test of where you are. So we're going to watch that game. Not even going to open the score and see what the score is. I actually kind of want to be surprised when I watch it, because it makes watching this series annoying when, like, you already know the score. I don't know. And then KOI and Paris. 3-0. KOI Paris 3-0. And I did watch this series. I didn't watch the Overload, and I didn't watch the Scar. I pretty much watched the Hardpoint. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, this is the day where like a person was actually moving in and I was literally doing stuff. I was literally out freaking doing errands. I watched the first map. Paris should have won that first map, and then they trolled. And I am going to make an analysis video about that, posted on Twitter, posted on YouTube. So make sure you have me followed on Twitter, on YouTube, and you will see it. They should have won the first map. Will that have changed a lot? They probably would have won Exposure Hardpoint and maybe won that and forced them at 5. All came down to that map number 1. Paris are losing every Hardpoint now. They're clearly in a slump. I know their Overload's not the greatest, and they're playing Scar S&D. Anyone could win Scar S&D. It was like a 5-5. I have to go back and watch that one. But, I mean, I'm over watching these Scar S&Ds because we're just going to get a different Scar S&D every single time. It's like there's only so much that you could do on that map. I did watch like the 5-5. I thought Koi played it very well. I watched like Joe and CleanX push the plane side, go back spawn, force the first blood, and then just sprint back to their side and just play like a retake over on A. I thought that was a great play. But yeah, Paris' Overload. I'm gonna have to start asking like the camp over there on like what they think is like wrong. I actually may do that off my screen real quick, and we'll see if we actually get a reply as we're on the podcast, because I'm gonna say what's good with that Overload. But yeah, their Overload's like not good right now, and I could tell. I'm not gonna say it's because of Dante. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's because of Dante, but he is like prone to make so many mistakes in like pretty much almost every respawn. So I would not be surprised. Okay. And then, oh my god, I actually thought that happened. I was like, LA Thieves against FaZe? When the heck did that happen? We get Thieves versus FaZe on Friday. That's actually gonna be like a good Friday for a change. But the first match is Vancouver against Cloud9. Oh my god. Okay, back to Boston and FaZe. Okay, as I say okay for like the millionth time. From the perspective of Boston, this is probably like the worst thing that could have happened to them, because you're a bad team and you need to make another roster change, and then you get a win against FaZe Vegas, and you want to know what that's going to do? Oh, all of a sudden, we're good again. Yeah, like, we should stay. Like, if a bottom team gets a win against a top team like this, all of a sudden you're going to be like, we don't need to make a change. Like, we just beat freaking FaZe. Like, we're freaking good enough to stay. Worst thing that could have happened to Boston. They still need to make a change. If I'm Boston, it's a good win, but I swear I think this was more about freaking FaZe just playing bad than it was like you actually playing good. There was a great P3 break that Boston did have on exposure. I do remember watching that, and I thought it was great. It was a and I was like playing the scenarios in my head of like maybe FaZe could play it better, but I'm like, no, that was just a great break from Boston. I think it was like the second P3, I believe. It was like a very good break. A person like was going on an outer P3 pinch and et cetera, et cetera. It was like a great play. Yeah, I still think Boston needs to make another change. I'm not convinced. Okay, I'm not convinced. Either Purge or Snoopy's got to go. It's not working for me. And it's very clear to see FaZe was freaking testing that map number 2 on Raid, because they usually don't play that map, but they're trying to get better at it. And I think it's going to be like another Blackheart for them, where they just force it in, and like no one's going to play him on Den. And I think Den may be introduced later, and then they might be iced on it. Who knows? But nobody's playing on Den, and then like they have to play Raid, and freaking FaZe picks Scar all the time. If I'm FaZe, I'm trying to get better at exposure. Like, I'm trying to add like a map like that, because everybody plays Scar. So it's like most of the time you don't even got to ban Scar, because everybody's going to play it. So like try to get better at another map. Try to get better in exposure. Try to get better at Colossus, even though Colossus, but try to get better at either of those maps. If you get better at exposure Colossus, it will open up your S&D map vetoes. Like, because now teams are going to see like you're good at that map. Like, let's say a lot of teams aren't good at exposure S&D. So if you get good at exposure S&D, all of a sudden they might have to ban that map, and they leave like a Scar or like a Raid open for you to, like, you know, like you got to start thinking like that. Or maybe they might ban that map and then they leave freaking Den open. That's how you need to start thinking about it. They're spending all this time working on the wrong map. Stop playing Scar S&D. There's only so much you can learn on Scar. You literally don't have to practice that map. That map sucks. It's one-dimensional. You can figure it out when you play it. That's a map you could just play in scrims and you'll be fucking good at it. Like, you don't even need to practice it in-game. There's nothing to practice. It's the same shit on that map. It's a fucking simulator. It sucks. You don't need to practice it. You don't need to pick it 15 times in your map vetoes. Stop it. Stop it. From the perspective of Boston, I mean, yeah, they just should still make a change, but now they're not going to. And then we'll watch them lose next week, and we'll be right back here again. So, and then Miami beat Cloud9, and then Optic beat freaking Vancouver 3-0. So that's pretty much like the weekend of matches. So, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty chill week. And upcoming, I mean, I guess I'll do predictions for these like Friday matches. I'll do predictions for all the matches, but a lot of times I like to see how teams play like on a day, and they do the predictions on the day. But I'll start doing predictions like day of, but we'll do Friday. I'm going to pick Vancouver. I'm going to pick LA Thieves or FaZe. I'm going to pick... Ooh, that's a toughie. I'm going to pick... man, like they have Neum. If I had to think of the map vetoes, LAT actually might allow Blackheart. We actually might get a Blackheart square up this time. And LAT and FaZe is probably going to ban Den, I would assume. FaZe is probably going to ban Den, because for some reason they can't play a map at hard points. They're probably going to ban Den because now LAT is beating every team on that map. They just beat Optic on that map, so they're going to ban that. FaZe, or I mean, LAT would probably ban like a Scar. It might be like an exposure Blackheart, I swear. It might be an exposure Blackheart. Or FaZe might pick Colossus. They might pick Colossus. I forgot about Colossus. So if FaZe picks Colossus, LAT has to choose between Scar and exposure. Scar, exposure, or Blackheart. Scar, exposure, Blackheart. I forgot what map I said FaZe ban. So if FaZe bans Den, what map's LAT gonna ban? Holy cow! Let me look. So if FaZe bans Den, LAT would probably ban Colossus. If I had to, they'd probably ban Colossus. And we might get exposure and like Blackheart. Exposure and Blackheart for hard points. they're probably going to allow Scarce and Dean because both teams are just like do with that map. So I'm curious if they might play Raid because LAT is not the best Raid S&D team and FaZe is trying to get better at it and FaZe is not the greatest at that team. I'm wondering if the map views will lead to that. I think LAT is probably going to ban Colossus S&D. I would have to assume. They have to ban Colossus. I mean, both of them are 0-2 at Raid. Maybe they might just have a freaking Burger Bowl square up. They're not going to ban Scar. So no team is going to ban Scar. Either team is probably going to ban Raid. But also, LAT might ban Den because that's freaking FaZe's best map. But LAT is also good at that map. They're pretty much good at the exact same S&D maps. That's going to be a tough one. They're pretty much good at the same maps. Like, they could both allow like Scar and Den just be like, whatever. You know? Who knows? Because freaking FaZe isn't going to ban that. They're not going to ban Exposure. They're not going to ban Colossus because they're pretty good at it. They'll probably ban Raid. It might just be the map that they ban. Just like out of like a fucking, I don't know. Or they might ban Scar. Who knows? This could be an interesting series when it comes to maps. And then, yeah, so LAT has the higher seed, which means they probably get like the Overload ban. They're probably going to just pick Team A. If they get the Overload ban, either way, FaZe is going to get to pick the Overload that they want to play. And they're not going to play him on Scar. It will probably be like an Exposure because LAT is not that good at Den, so they might play Exposure. So I would probably say FaZe, though. I feel like FaZe is probably going to beat him this time. So I'm probably going to pick FaZe there. Vancouver, FaZe, and then... fuck, you just like never know when it comes to G2. But you know what? I actually need G2 to lose because... yeah, I just actually need them to lose because I'm a hater. So Vancouver, FaZe, Miami are my picks for Friday matches. And then, I mean, we have a good Saturday. Paris G2, Optic FaZe, Koi, Falcons, Cloud9, Boston Breach. Could probably go without that one. They put that match on last. Wow. Who made the freaking schedule, dude? They put Cloud9 Boston last. Okay, well, that's just an early off fucking day for all of us then. That's just an early day for everyone. Woo! That's awesome. Early day for everybody. And then Sunday, Miami LAT. Good game. Super against Scrap. Koi against Breach. Interesting. Optic Carolina. Vancouver against Paris. After Paris lost to Cloud9, now we're watching every Paris game with like open eyes now, you know? Like now they can lose to every team. Last thing I'm going to talk about real quick because this happened today. Capisdal joins Surge in place of Abe. Vancouver, what are you doing? What are we doing? Man, I mean, the bad choices for Vancouver all started when they turned down over $500K for AG in the middle of the season from Optic because they thought they could still have the potential to win. Newsflash, they didn't win, okay? They made like one grand finals and were like, no, we definitely had the chance to compete all year. Didn't compete for the rest of the year. Should have took the $500,000, but they didn't. That $500,000 actually could have been great for them. Could have been invested, you know, could have done a lot of things, but they didn't do it. And then they make a terrible roster with Sabri. We'd never even hear from Sabri again. He's just like off the face of the earth now. And now you drop Abe. You drop Abe over TJ for Capisdal. Now you got Gwyn, Capisdal, TJ, and Lunars. That just sounds like a team that cannot think. I know you're putting TJ and Capisdal together, you know, like the T-Rod Bush duo. That team is brain dead. I'm sorry, that team is dumb. That team is dumb. Maybe it's because I'm very high on Abe, but this is not the right roster choice to make. And I know Capisdal's PR has been at an all-time high. They've been pushing it on the flank. Donnie Temp been pushing it like crazy. And PR ends up working. I don't even think Capisdal's been a standout in challengers like at all. He's been like a 0 point, like a 9-5 in respawn or like something like that, like in challengers. I don't even... Like, I know he's a good player, but he's just not, like... I think Capisdal might just be a player who's just, like, not there. Who's, like, just, like, never going to, like, fully hit like just like the S tier level that he should have hit, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just am not convinced by him. We'll actually pull up his challenger stats real quick, and before we wrap up this episode of the Borito Talk podcast. For some reason, it was like so hard to talk today. So Capisdal is a 0.96 KD overall. S&D's first. So where's Capisdal? He has a 1.1 in S&D. Cool. 0.96 in hardpoint and a 0.91 in overload. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's all I got to say. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should probably like minimize the screen so you guys could actually see it. I forgot. It was literally on last week's episode. You guys didn't see it. So there's Capisdal. Overall KD. 0.96. A 1.1 S&D. 0.96 hardpoint. 0.91 overload. I don't know about this, man. Capisdal, Gwyn, TJ, and Lunars. That just sounds like a burger team to me. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like such a burger team to me. I don't see where they get better. I know Abe's been not performing well. Like if we want to take a look at Abe right now, Abe has not been performing well at all. Like 0.84, 51st in the league. Oh my god. 0.75, 51st. Oh my god. He is literally bottom every stat category. I mean, I can't really like defend that, man. I can't really defend that, but I mean, only so much you could do as an SMG on this team. But I mean, that's not really an excuse, though. It's not really an excuse. Like, there's a lot of times where SMG players are like the only good players on a team with like terrible ARs. But not having ARs that like know how to play is really hard if you're an SMG player. I can tell you that right now. It's extremely hard, and it can make you look really, really bad. And man, I didn't know he was getting put in the dirt like that. That's really bad. That's going to be a hard bounce back for him. Not going to lie. If I like take a look at his major, I hope you guys didn't hear that sniffle. That was really bad. And the Carolina win at major 1. He was at 0.74 still. Wow. What the heck? This guy's just not playing good at all. Like ever. Even on land, not playing good. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Latest getting fried, I guess. Latest getting fried. I may have to go and watch his gameplay and just see if he's really putting himself in terrible positions. I just like kind of give up on watching Vancouver, to be honest. There's like nothing to write home about. But I think this is another terrible choice by Vancouver again. There's not really much you can say. Just another terrible choice. That's all they do is make bad choices. All they do is make bad choices. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap up this episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my inactivity like the past month or two on stream. So if you're ever in the streams, I'm going to be streaming all week long. I know I freaking say that, but this time I actually mean it. Starting with today, I'm going to be streaming probably right when I unhit the record button. Probably going to take like a half an hour break and just like edit. And then I'm going to hit the live button, talk about Optic LET, talk about why I've been inactive, pop by the stream. Check it out. I'll be live all weekend long, watching the games this time on stream and not off stream. And yeah, just gonna be getting back into the flow of things now. So with that being said, guys, follow me on Twitter, BORI7S. And the Borito Talk podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow the show, download, stream it. All this stuff really helps me out. When you follow and you download, that really helps me out a lot. Recommend this podcast to a friend that you think might like it. I know a lot of people say I got great takes in Call of Duty. I think I got the best takes in Call of Duty. That's just my opinion. I think I got the best takes. I got the most age-well tweets. I'm a long-term thinker. I don't react. Oh, yeah, I forgot. One last thing. I was going to bring this up because I actually said I was going to call it the flank. So I'm going to do that real quick before we end it off. I actually forgot. And it goes back to the Paris Cloud9 series. Okay, real quick. So with the Paris Cloud9 series, I had to hear the people on the flank when Cloud9 was doing bad and the whole thing was happening. Everybody making fun of Arian, mispronouncing his name, making fun of him, calling him shit's ass, da-da-da-da-da. And then the second they beat Paris, I load up the episode of The Flank. All of a sudden, yeah, Aaron's actually pretty good. All of a sudden, no one's making fun of his name anymore. After one win, everyone's like, oh, yeah, this guy's actually he's actually a good coach. Keep that same energy the whole time. That is what I mean when I say this is reactionary content. And no one can tell me otherwise. And I'm not saying everyone on The Flank was making fun of him. I could tell there's people like Ben J who didn't want to be a part of that stuff because they actually knew, only so much Aaron could do. And yeah, but the rest of them are very guilty for that stuff. I'm not even saying all of them, even Attach as well, because Attach got coached by him last year, so Attach knows. But there was Eggs. I mean, I'm not even saying Eggs switched up or anything, but yeah, you guys get my point. Just the overall thing from going to making fun of him. Now everyone was like, oh yeah, you know what? Aaron's actually. I don't know. I just heard that. I was like, man, it's so fake. That just sounded so fake. I was like, ah. But I'm glad everyone's seeing that he's actually a good coach, and I mean, he's doing the best with the cards he was dealt, pretty much. And I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Enjoy your work week. And I'll see you guys on YouTube pretty much so much this week. I'm working on a lot of videos. I'm going to do a video before I go live talking about Paris's Overload gameplay. So keep the notifications on YouTube on. Follow me on Twitter. Follow the show on Spotify. Tell a friend about me. And yeah, I mean, I could keep yapping forever. As long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep yapping. Let's leave it at that. That's the deal. Good handshake. Okay, this has been Burrito. Bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time. Peace.